Okay, well, welcome everybody. From the people who are on it, I think a lot of you have entered data into survey 123 before.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I know we don't have video of everybody, but for those that we do, if you have not entered data before, could you raise your hand? Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Well, I am Dave Krause, and my partner tonight is Betsy Brace, and we're both Whidbey volunteers. And Bets typically handles getting people their new accounts, so you probably already worked with her a little bit on this. So Survey 123 is the system that takes our data and stores it in a database at Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. They developed the Survey 123 program for us, the particular application of it for the Pigou survey. And they store the data and maintain that. So we've had that partnership. I believe this is our 4th year, maybe our 5th year. It's a great addition to the Pigeon Guillemot survey. We're really happy to be partnering with them. So most of you probably have been to the our website. I'm going to bring that up. Let's see. So you should be able to see the homepage of our website right now. I'm going to take you to our survey toolbox, which is where all the materials for learning how to do the survey are stored. And the third one down here is the Survey 123 data system training page. And for people who enter data, the relevant parts of this page are these documents here and this link down here where you can view your submitted survey. And I'll go to this near the end of the training so you can see how that works. There is a video from, I think, maybe last year or maybe the year before here. That's essentially this video that we're doing now. So if you want to review anything you hear, it'll be covered in this video. If the video we're doing tonight works out well, we'll probably replace this video here with tonight's video. I think that's all I want to show you at this point. So I'm going to turn it over to Bets, who will bring up Survey 123 and to show you how to start entering data.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all here. So what I'm going to do is take you back and forth between the beach data sheet, which is on one side of the screen, and our ArcGIS Survey 123 app, which is on the other side of the screen. And one thing we just wanted to point out regarding entering your data, it's not related specifically to every data point, but we've found in the past that it's really helpful for people if they can enter their data on a weekly basis, rather than, wait a few weeks, get them piled up and then enter them all at once. It helps us if you can enter them each week, because we can see where people might have misunderstandings and train people on how to get it right. Plus, I find myself that it's so much easier if something's not written down on the beach data sheet and I wait 3 weeks to enter it, I won't remember it. So if I do it the day after or the day that we actually do our survey and I hadn't written something down, I might be able to remember what it was. So just a request for people to, enter your data weekly would be great. So off we go. You all should have gotten your accounts and then downloaded this app, and we sign into our app. And if you, hopefully you know your new username, or if you don't remember it from last year, your username or password, we do have the forgot username or forgot password prompts that can help you out there. And when we open up, you see it's my survey 123. My initials are up in the top here, so I know this is, I'm logged in as me. Most of you will only see this tile right here. Dave and I and Shannon have a bunch of other tiles because we have other chores we have to do, but your main task is to use the Pigeon Guillemot survey form, and you will use that for all your data entry. You'll also notice up here, it says updates available 1. So when you log in, if there are any updates available, we recommend you just do those updates first thing, because then it actually won't allow you to continue without doing the update. So you run the update and then arrow back to the form and open up the Pigeon Guillemot form. And you'll see at the bottom, we are able to collect data by clicking on the blue plus. And in looking at the beach data sheet that we've prepared for you, you'll see sample colony for testing. And each region will have its own sample colony for testing. So after tonight's session, if you want to just go out and try entering data, use your ZZZ sample colony. But the first thing that you notice when you've logged in and opened up your form, your name will show up right here as the signed in user. If it doesn't show up there, it means you're not probably logged in fully. I would try logging out, log back in, but your name should show here, your username. And also it will list the regions that are authorized for you. You'll probably only have one region here. Dave and I have several because we sometimes help, and Shannon as well. So even though it's shows that I have all those regions available, we still have to select the region that we're from the drop down. So the arrow over here will give you the drop down, and I'm going to select Whidbey. And once Whidbey is populated here, we can look for this ZZZ sample colony for testing. So these are all of the Whidbey colonies, and at the very bottom is the sample colony for testing. And we select that. Location is populated in the background. You don't have to do anything with that. And the next thing you have to fill in will be the survey date. And you'll see we have our date here of July 14th. So we're going to come down and select July 14th. And the survey year and week are all populated for you. The next thing that we have to fill in would be the start time. And the start time at ZZZ is at 8 a.m. So we place ourselves in this field. And this box, you'll see this box in other areas, and it behaves similarly. You can either use the up and down arrows, or I find it's easiest just to place yourself in the box, type in your time, and then you can tap over to the next box to put in your 8 o'clock time. And usually if you're doing this in the morning, the AM will be highlighted. But since we're doing this in the evening, the PM will be highlighted. So if you're entering your data late in the day, make sure to select AM for the start time. Otherwise, we'll end up with some weird, very long surveys. And then click back in the box. And this is a 1 hour survey, so our end time is going to be at 9 o'clock. And again, selecting AM, which is the actual time. And you'll see that this is a standard 1 hour survey. I think most everybody does a standard 1 hour survey. I don't know if there are any extended. That's a very special occasion. So you'll select standard 1 hour survey. The next field of information is the team lead. And you will see that on the beach data sheet, I am the lead. So I'm going to come over here and select my name. And then the observers field, there are no drop downs here. So we have to type in all of the observers. And one thing to note, if the lead is also an observer, we should also type the lead's name in here. So I'll put in my name. And the rest of the volunteers. Then we move down to total volunteer time, which shows up right here. And it's 10.5. And this volunteer time should include 1 hour sitting on the beach for everybody in the group, plus travel time and the time it gets to sit down, and settled on the beach for everybody, plus the time to do the data entry. So whoever's doing the data entry would add their hours at the time they're doing it. So the total for all of that for this survey would have been 10.5 hours. Next, we go over here to tide data. And you see that up here, we've selected it's a positive tide. So here we can select it's positive tide. And it's a 2.3. So we enter the 2.3. And it is an incoming tide. So that's where we select the incoming. And then the next field on the beach data sheet is the PIGU counts from the start, the middle, and the end. And our first count, I put myself in the box, is 47. You can use your mouse, or I like to just tab from field to field. You can use these numbers to do the up and down, but you can also just type the number in. That seems the easiest. And then tab, and then the last number. Now, on this beach data sheet, we don't have any general survey notes. We do have an area at the bottom to put in survey notes. So, if there's something you feel is important to put in, and these would be things that might affect your ability to see the birds, like, heavy fog, extreme wind and wave action, that sort of thing might be helpful to put into the general survey notes. And to do that, you would just put in, just put quickly one in. And that's how you would enter a note. Now, if you wanted to put in a note of a different type, like, okay, there was a boat or something, not a boat, that's going to be a disturbance. But if there was another weather that you wanted to do separately, you can use this plus button down here to add a second note. Or if you decide, this really isn't that important to put in, I'm not going to put the note in, you can trash can it and get rid of it here. So that takes us down to the bottom of the page. Why can't I see my? Sorry, I'm not able to see the bottom of my page here. Okay. And at the bottom of the page, just to point out, you'll see on the notes, this is note 1 of 1, but at the bottom here, we're on page 1 of 5. So don't let that confuse you. And you can also close that up if you want. So I'm gonna click over to page 2. And this is where we add burrows and visits, and Dave's gonna go over this part for you. So I'm gonna stop my share and let Dave take back over.
Dave, are you muted?
Oh, he is.
I am muted, or I was muted. Thank you. Yeah, so this is page 2 of the BDS, and what we want to do is transfer this information into the survey form. So as Betsy showed, page 2 is where the burrow information gets added. So when you open up, page 2 is going to look just like this. And in order to add a burrow, you'll click on this plus sign and you can add a burrow ID. So one suggestion I have that I think will help you out is to enter the burrows exactly as they are listed on your beach data sheet. There might be a tendency to want to do them in order, like maybe you would want to skip down to burrow 2 here and enter that first. It's a little easier to keep things straight if you just do it in the order that they appear on the beach data sheet. And hopefully the beach data sheet, for each burrow, all the visit information appears on one line. That will also make it much easier to enter data. Okay, so we'll start with burrow ID 3. Just click in the box and enter 3. There is an opportunity here to enter a burrow note. It's something, I don't know what you might put there, but if something caught your eye about the burrow and you want to share that information, you can put it in the burrow note. Generally, we leave that blank, but feel free to put whatever you want into it. Now we want to enter the visits associated with burrow 3, and to open that up, we click on this plus in the visits section. So you'll notice that this kind of outer section is blue, and that has to do with the burrow, and this inner area is green, and that has to do with visits. So that might keep you organized a little bit on how this page works, because initially it's a little confusing to do this. All right, so burrow 3, our first visit was a sculpin delivery at 8:23. So you'll click sculpin and you'll put in 8:23 like Betsy showed, and click AM if you're doing this in the PM. That's a real common error. It's if you're not inputting the data in the morning, this will be defaulted to PM, and it's real easy to forget to change it to AM. Okay, so we've got our first visit in. Now what? How do we enter another visit? Well, you click on this plus sign in the green area, and that will open another visit page that you can fill. So our second visit was at 8:34, and it also was a sculpin delivery. We've entered the two visits for borough ID 3, and if you look down here, you can see, it'll tell you what you've entered. So you can check down here to see if you actually did enter what you intended to enter. This is a really good check, especially when you're new to this and you're a little uncomfortable and not sure how it works. So now we're finished with borough 3 and we want to enter the borough 9 information. So we need to open another borough page. The way you do that is you scroll down to this plus sign for this control that's in the blue area near the bottom of the page, and you click the plus and you get a new blank borough page. So put the borough ID in, 9. We don't have a borough note. So we had a visit to borough. We'll open the visits page and visit to borough, no pray. That's this click. And it was at 8:39. I learned something from Betsy this evening that I didn't know. I haven't been tabbing to the minutes section, and that's a very nice control, Betsy. So down here, it shows that we were working on borough 9 and that we had a no parade delivery, a single one, and it was at 8:39. So it looks like we did that okay. Our last borough is borough 2. It had 3 deliveries. So we want to open another boroughs page. So we click the plus sign down here. And we'll enter 2. And we'll open the visits section again. And the first listed is a Sculpin delivery at 8:45. Now we have a Gunnel delivery at 8:46. So we'll open a new visits page here. And a final delivery of an unknown or something other than a Gunnel or a Sculpin. So we'll open our third page. Click other. And you can check you can check your work down here to see if you've accurately entered the information. And it looks like there was an error on the Sculpin delivery. It was at 8:45, not 8:35. So in order to correct something, you can navigate to the visit by using these arrows here. So we want to go back to the Sculpin delivery, and there we are. We're at Sculpin. We have 8:35. You can open that up and adjust the time. And
Nice.
there it's corrected. So if you inadvertently put a visit in that didn't happen, you could use the trash can here to delete the visit. So that's how that page works. You'll notice down here at the bottom of the page, it lists the boroughs that you entered. And you similarly on this control here for boroughs, you can click through to review your data for each borough, which will be in this area. So we're in borough 3 right now. We just click to borough 9 and finally click to borough 2. It's pretty easy to review your information here. If you haven't done this before, I really recommend you getting into it pretty quick while this is still fresh in your mind, and just play around. You don't have to submit a survey. You can open up a ZZZ sample colony for testing page and just play around, and no harm, no foul. And even if you do submit these for the ZZZ sample colony, they get filtered out at the end of the year. So you can put as much junk up there as you care to. So that is, that's how that works. And I will turn you back over to Betsy here. And she'll show you how to enter disturbances.
Okay, so that was page 2, and I'm going to go on to page number 3, which is the disturbance page, and you see it's indicated with the pink background. And our disturbances show up here on the front side of the beach data sheet. This disturbance along the top is just an example, so that when you're out there doing it the first time, you've got something to look at. But during the survey, we had a disturbance here and another disturbance here. So we will add those 2 disturbances. And the first one, the numbers, the date, the times line up with Eagle. And Eagle is going to be the most often found disturbance. But this one wasn't Eagle. And so if you look, your first data point is to select the disturbance type. And that's a drop down that gives you each of these. Other cause would be something, something happened and you don't know what it was, but all of a sudden they're gone, the birds. So that's, well, wait a second. That's unknown if you don't know what happened. And if there's another cause like sea lion or something, you could use other cause and then in the note put sea lion scared off the birds. But these are the most common ones that you'll see. Anyway, this right here are the start and end times for the disturbance. And you'll see this one started at 8:27. So again, we have our handy dandy time box. And we select AM, of course, as we're learning. And then it looks like the end time was 8:35. So 8:35 AM. And the Y here is an indication that the disturbance ended before the end of the survey. So when we fill these out on the beach, we're supposed to indicate a start time and end time and whether the disturbance ended before the survey ended. And this one has a yes, a Y, so that means it did end before the survey. There are no notes for this one, so we're not going to put any notes here. But like with the previous pages that Dave showed us, to add additional disturbances, we have at the bottom of the page a plus sign. So we're going to go and enter this second disturbance. And this second disturbance came from a motorized boat. As you can see, the time lines up under that motorized boat. So select that. And our start time shows as 8:47. And our end time shows as 9 o'clock. And we have an N here, which this N indicates that the disturbance did not end before the end of the survey. So when this happens, if the disturbance goes beyond the end of the survey, we don't wait around for them to come back. We just say that the disturbance ended at 9 because that's when the survey ended. So that's our end time. And we indicate here that the disturbance was still ongoing, had not ended. And then in the notes, we will put whatever note we have. And that's it. Again, if you realize, oh, that really wasn't a disturbance, I want to delete it, you have a trash can, you can delete it. Or if you got all the information wrong, you want to redo it, you can delete it and redo it. But anyway, that's how to add a disturbance. And again, you can add other general notes while you're on this page. We don't tend to get a lot of general notes. So that's the end of the disturbance page. Now I'm going to go on to page 4. And this page does not relate to the sheet per se, but this is a page where we upload our beach data sheet images. So for all this data that you've entered, we want an image copy deposited so that we have that to do QA work from, and it's saved with the rest of the data for later looking at. First thing to note, there's this little camera here. That is not really the way we should think of this. Some people have in the past tried to use their computer to take a picture of their beach data sheet and upload it using this camera, but it never works out great. It'll be like too close or it'll be tilted. It's just not a good way to do it. You really want to upload a file, an image from the file. And there's multiple different ways to get your beach data sheets into a file that can be uploaded. The way that I do it with mine is I will take my final beach data sheet and I will scan it into my computer and save it in a folder, and then I upload it to here. Some people will take their cell phone and take a picture of the beach data sheet, being really careful to get the full sheet and have it nice and lined up, and then email it to themselves or upload it to their computer so that it's in a file on their computer to be uploaded from. And the last way, we found last year this tool called Genius Scan, which was very helpful, and it's an app, and we have an instruction sheet on posted up also with our tools on how to use that. And essentially it allows you to take an image of your beach data sheet with your cell phone, and then it'll upload it as a PDF to your mail and mail it to yourself. We're not going to go over that tool, but if you don't have a scanner at home, that's really the best way to get your images up, is with Genius Scan. So I'm going to walk through the upload process. So basically we click on the file and we drill down to where we've got our images stored. And you'll see here that I have 2 images, and these images are JPEGs, but I also have beach data sheets that are PDFs, and they're not showing here. So there's a way to get your PDFs to show, and it's you come down here to the image types, and if you click on this images types, it'll give you a drop down. The top option gives you mostly just JPEGs and that sort of thing. The bottom option is all files. So if you click on the bottom option, you'll see that now your PDFs are also available to upload. This is a PDF, this is, and this is. So I'm gonna select this PDF as my completed BDS survey. And it loads up. And now it's there for you. And you can do a 2-page PDF in one file, or if you want to do them separately, you could do one PDF here for page 1 and one PDF here for page 2. So on page 2, I will just, as an option, I'll upload one of those JPEGs. And you'll see that when you upload a JPEG, you'll see the actual image here, but with the PDF, it does not display the image for you. I think that's all. If for some reason you got the wrong file, if you're looking at this and you're saying, oh my gosh, oh, that was the wrong date, shoot, what am I gonna do? How do I get back there? There we go. You can actually use the trash can and get rid of it and then upload another one. I think that's about it for uploading files. Anything else, Dave, that you can think of?
No, Bets, thanks. That's
Okay,
that covers it.
so I'm gonna go on to page 5 and let Dave take over again and show you how we do our final check before we submit.
I'm getting all the Zoom stuff out of the way so I can see my screen. All right. So page 5 is where you can submit your completed survey. First, I want to go over what else is shown on page 5. And in particular, this part here, the visit summary. I really, really encourage you to do a final check of your borough data. And so it's very, very handy to keep your beach data sheet handy. And if you've entered the data in order, as I recommended, then you can quickly compare. All right, borough 3, let's see, 823, 834, 2 Sculpin deliveries. All right, that looks good. Borough 9, a no prey delivery at 839, that looks good. Borough 2, Sculpin at 845, Gunnell at 846, other at 823. All right, the QC check is done. So if you do this, when the QC happens at the end of the season, it will really go smoothly. So
It helps.
it is a big help. So please use that. Up here, we'll probably get rid of this, and I recommend just ignoring it for now. It tells you some information you don't really need to know at this point, and it does have kind of a glitch in it. If the data is modified, it may not catch the modification. So the visit summary part is what's important here. All right, so how do you then submit this? Well, this check mark down here will allow you to submit the form. But first, I want to show you what happens if you haven't put all the information in that maybe you intended to. So I'm gonna get rid of the total volunteer time that's on page 1. So if you inadvertently missed putting some data in that's required, when you go to this check mark, nothing happens, but it takes you to page 1. And because all of page 1 won't fit on your screen, it's just kind of sitting there and you're going, well, why? What's going on? Nothing happened here. Well, scroll down And if there is an area that is missing data, it'll be outlined in red with this exclamation mark saying required. So if you hit that submission check mark and it didn't appear that anything happened, but it moved to a different page in the survey, scroll around and look for a red outline box, and that's where some missing data is. So that was 10.5. We'll fill that in and go back to page 5. And now I know that we're ready to submit this, but I want to show you one more thing before we do that. Up here in the upper left, there's a close X. If you select that, you have some options. You can trash the entire survey, or you can just go back to continue the survey and keep working on it, or you can save it in drafts. And if you find that you can't complete the survey, for some reason you need to check something, or maybe you need another piece of data that somebody else in your team has, you can save this in drafts, and I'll do that. So it's now saved in drafts. It came back to this form, and the drafts they're listed down here. So you can click on that. This is the survey we're working on. We can click on that and it will load the survey for you to continue working on. We don't use this much, but if for some reason you did need to save a survey and get some more information before submitting it, that's how you would do it. So now everything is ready, we think, for submitting the survey. So we'll click on the check mark down here in the lower right. And we believe we're ready, so we're going to send now. And you'll see a progression there, and it went. And we got this message, drafts is empty. So it took that draft and submitted it. So used to be, this was just kind of a black box and you had to trust that something actually happened. But now we have a tool, we call it the view only dashboard. And it allows us to go look at the data we just submitted. So I'm going to stop share on these and load the website. Okay, I'm back in the website, and I'm on the Survey 123 data system training page again. And down here, there is this block under some other things you need to know about Survey 123, view your submitted surveys. So I'm going to click this link. And it brings up the view only dashboard. I'm going to, all the regions are listed here, so you select your region. So that was Whidbey that we submitted this on, and down here you select your colony. And for the selected colony, all the submitted surveys will be listed. And the only one submitted is the one we just worked on. So you can click on that and open it. And it loads all of the data that you so effortlessly entered and submitted. So you have a picture, you have the uploaded files for your beach data sheet, and you have all the page 1 information, all this information here. is listed here. If there are any general survey notes, they would be listed here. Over in this block are all of the disturbances that were listed, and you can move between them using the arrows. And finally, in this section is the borough information. And if you click on a borough, you'll get all of the visits to borough associated with that borough. So you can just move between them. So when you first submit a survey, it's really gratifying to come to this page to see that something actually did happen. As we didn't used to know, we weren't really sure.
That's true.
Let's see. What else did I want to show you? I think that's it. So questions.
Hey, Dave, this is Francis.
Yeah.
On that view your data sheet, it has a little map down at the bottom.
Oh,
So
let
I
me,
tried to open up my colony of Shore Meadows. So
Mhm.
there's no like dot that shows where is that map supposed to show where your colony is?
It'll show your colony. If you have a submitted survey, it will show your colony.
Ah, okay. And because you were in ZZ sample, it didn't show.
Yeah, there is no
Okay.
location associated with that. Let me go back to that since I closed out of it too quickly. What Francis was talking about was down here. When you click on, actually, I can do that with the South Sound Big Fish Trap, isn't it? Yeah. There. So Big Fish Trap has actually started doing surveys. That's a South Sound colony. And here you see that there's a location map for that colony.
Okay, great.
Okay, so any questions?
Is this ArcGIS and the PGU data survey app, is the survey 123, is that available on your like iPhone or Android?
Yeah, it can be. There was a survey 123 app for iOS and Android.
Okay.
I think that users did find that it was a bit difficult using an iPhone to actually enter data
Mm-hmm.
or an iPad, just because of mostly the way that the boroughs and deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had one person who tried, and it felt onerous to her.
Mm-hmm.
If you have really slow flying birds carrying nothing, you'll be able to keep up probably.
Well, I was thinking more for the data entry after everything's been collected.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I see what you mean. I wouldn't
Right.
do it while the birds you're actually doing the survey on the beach.
Okay.
Yeah, it is used that way for some surveys, and I think some people have tried it for this survey, but it's just a little bit slow.
So
Anything else?
it's Francis again. I have a couple questions, but
Sure.
number one, and it's kind of come up last week as well, but I didn't feel like I heard a definitive answer. And my question is, should we be keeping the same borough codes and names year after year? Because we have quite a few years with the same boroughs have been gone back to, whereas others have been abandoned. What is the value of that? Or this year, since there's been a lot of bluff erosion, would it be better to start fresh?
Yeah, we, at our colony, Fort Casey, we do keep the same borough codes year after year, and I know a number of colonies do that. I think there is no requirement to do that. And there is currently no study that's looking at the persistence of boroughs or the reuse of boroughs.
But
And
there could be in the future, couldn't there?
there could be,
And if that data was there, then they'd have the benefit of it.
if unfortunately, what would complicate that is that some colonies do it and some colonies don't. So
Mhm.
we would need to, and this is where those colony maps come in handy, where either with using a photograph or drawings, you identify where the boroughs are. Those could be used to identify colonies where we have consistently used the same ID for boroughs year after year.
Yeah, Dave, can I just chime in here?
Yeah, sure.
Um, at this point, or, in the last 20 years, whatever, we've only been looking at, not borough by borough, but by colony on, the amount of, visits to borough or, prey deliveries, per colony, but not necessarily borough specific. So, like Dave mentioned, you could certainly use the same borough numbers year after year, but you don't, it's not required, and there is just so much sloughing that oftentimes you can't. It's just kind of, it's a new season, so it's a new slate. So don't feel like you have to, I would say.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. You
does
don't have
anybody
to.
have experience having done that, started new slate? Does that confuse people who are returning volunteers versus brand new volunteers? I mean, it could be confusing trying to identify exactly where those boroughs are.
Well,
Because sometimes there's 3 or 4 or 5 all in a row.
yeah.
And,
We at Double Bluff, we just start new photos each year, and then as soon as a Guillemot flies in and disappears, that's whatever section, that's A1 or B2 or C3, and we just start the number system, by who enters the borough first, because there's a lot of holes in the bluff, but they're not necessarily boroughs.
and then you key those to photographs.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I'm going out with our team tomorrow, and I'll be taking photographs on, like a big sheet of paper, waterproof paper, and then as the bird flies into the burrow, then we'll circle it with a pen and say, okay, this is C1,
Mhm.
because that was the first burrow, and then when another bird flies into another burrow, that's C2. And maybe last year that was C5, but it doesn't matter.
When are you going to do that, Govinda?
Tomorrow.
What time
You want-
would you?
You want to come?
Maybe.
Sure. Well, we're meeting at 3:30 at the
Oh.
Wall Road Farm. You know
Darn.
where that is?
Oh, I have an appointment, unfortunately.
Oh.
So, but I'd love to see how you do it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, well.
So to summarize, I would say, if you're interested in knowing if your boroughs are being reused every year, then by all means, give them the same name each year. But if you don't care, or if you have a really actively sloughing bluff where boroughs are disappearing and new boroughs are coming all the time, then it doesn't make much sense to try and consistently name boroughs.
Okay,
And
thanks.
I'd also like to add that we have, I'm at Edgewater, in the South Sound, and we have a 1/4 mile beach of boroughs, and they have maybe 12 boroughs. There's no way we could renumber them every year. And even we have a lot of sloughing, and we use our numbers almost as landmarks. So this is where C3 was. This is
Mhm.
where
Yeah,
B1
we do.
was.
We
So
do
that's
too.
how, and I've been at this same colony for 10 years. And if I had to change the numbers now, it would be a
Well,
disaster.
that's good to know. And ours are, I think we're up to about 34 different boroughs. And quite probably half of those have been used for a number of years. People long before I was there had been using them. So good, thank you for your input.
Yeah, I think it's
In-
just really colony
Oh.
dependent, and each team can kind of decide which system works the best for them.
Hey,
Okay.
Dave, this is Kathy Bauer. I know that our bluff photos were uploaded at one point. Can you get into that dashboard and look at somebody's bluff photos? Or is that
Yeah, hey, Bets,
further
you
than you want to go? I mean, to
you
share
wanna
that.
take this one?
What's that?
The answer, I'm asking Bets if she wants to respond. The short answer is yes.
The short answer is yes, you can get in there.
Well, no,
I
I
don't know if
meant,
I-
do you want to screen share it and show somebody what it looks like?
Yeah, because I don't think I have access to that.
Okay, let me see if I can pull it up here. Just give me a minute.
While Bets is doing that, does anybody have anything else?
Yeah, Dave, that my last question is, on the Survey 123 app, I have never been able to get the location turned on. It says it's not accessible, even though the little icon in the upper right, it shows the satellite and it looks like it's active. But then when I open it up, I keep getting the no location available.
What, for what colony?
Shore Meadow.
Shore Meadow,
I mean,
okay.
it doesn't seem to matter. I can still enter the data, but when I'm entering the data, I keep getting a little message at the bottom. It says position not available or location not available.
Yeah, let me, I'll look at that and get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
That happens to me too, Dave. This is Lee.
Oh, okay. Which colony, Lee?
Alma Bluff,
Okay.
which is right next door to Shore Meadow.
Oh, well, it's contagious then.
The Bermuda Triangle.
I am gonna share this. And we can send out the link if you folks don't have it. But this is the location viewer. And sorry, that always comes in the wrong way. Like the other view dashboard, whatever, you have to select your region. And then let's see, let's try Shore Meadows. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
You can select Shore Meadows, and then we have images uploaded for 2014, 19, 20, and 21. We'll go to the most recent one. And you can see on this map over here, we have the location of Shore Meadows, and then here are the images that were uploaded for 2021.
And is
And-
that something I can do, or does it have to go through an admin?
Yeah, I'm the one who uploads these.
Okay,
So whenever you're ready, when you're set with your images, let me know and we'll find a way for you to get them to me and I can upload them. Unless, I don't know, I mean, it is kind of an admin job, Dave. We didn't think about changing that at all, did we?
yeah, I just went into the app and I don't have that particular app to do it. I don't have access.
Okay, well, yeah, you won't have access to upload here.
Okay,
I don't believe, but we'll send out the link so that people can go and look.
Great,
But over the
thank you.
years, for the past couple of years, I've been uploading all the images.
Okay.
I do want to say that not all of the regions do this. I think Whidbey might be the only region that's actively uploading their colony maps. So it may not apply to everyone, but something to think about.
We'll just look at one more. So here's Double Bluff. And you see on the map, and here, over here, we have the images, and last year's images are loaded here. And these, I believe you can blow those up as well. So you get to see. Sometimes the images are quite large.
No, that's great.
Okay,
I have a couple little technical questions.
yes,
Dave, you mentioned putting your, entering your borough data in order. And you're talking about chronological order, right? Of visits? Of deliveries, of activity?
Dave, are you mute?
I lost connection. I'm back now.
I'm gonna
Um,
stop this.
So should I repeat my question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Dave, I was wondering, when you mentioned entering your borough data in order,
Yeah,
you're talking about chronological order of activity at that borough?
yeah, and in the order that you've entered them on the BDS, on the beach data sheet.
So
And-
if I have 8 surveyors on my team and I have 8 sheets and I'm consolidating it onto a compiled sheet, I'm gonna have to be scanning every single activity across all of those?
No.
No.
If you have multiple sheets and you're consolidating those, you consolidate it onto one sheet. And then you can put them in whatever order you want. You know, you could put them in, if they're numbers, you could put them in, number order. Does that make sense? We don't keep copies of individual sheets that are used to make a consolidated sheet. We only keep the consolidated sheet.
Okay, so what I've been doing is on entering the data in survey 1, 2, 3 by A boroughs, then B boroughs, C borough, D boroughs. And is that,
That's fine,
it is, okay,
because you're taking information from other sheets, right?
okay,
And writing them down. So,
okay,
yeah, so put them on your consolidated sheet in whatever order
okay.
makes sense for you.
Okay, and then my second question, and I think we might have addressed this last year and I've already forgotten the answer, or maybe things have changed.
In a year.
Formatting the name of the beach data sheet that we're uploading. I noticed the one Beth showed, I think just had, beach data sheet. It'll default to some, image number alphanumeric code. Is there a standard way to format the name of the beach data sheet?
There are a couple of standards that we thought we wanted to do, and we decided that it really wasn't necessary to do that. There are, the database that Department of Fish and Wildlife keeps has ways of making sure that you can put your fingers on the right survey. So we didn't ultimately, as we became more familiar with how the system worked and the fail safes in it, we felt that wasn't really necessary to also give the uploaded survey a name that made sense. It was just another step.
And was there a difference in South Sound? I can't recall, or this is across the board?
Well, I'm really talking about Whidbey, but
Okay,
everybody can do whatever they want. Every region can do what they want with respect to that.
okay.
If you want to give them meaningful names, that's fine. And there is a way to do that on that page.
Yeah. And then I had one more, which was, is there any way to make the list of team leads in alphabetical order? This is, I have to scan through every time and I miss my name about 18 times because I'm going so fast through the list. Is there a way to just,
I think the answer is there's a way. I'm not sure that the person who can do that will do that.
okay,
It's out of our control. So,
okay,
and I'm pretty sure we've asked this question before and it was considered high hanging fruit, but we'll ask it again.
would you like me to start a petition?
It's, it really is
Okay.
amazing how easy it is to miss something in a list.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, thank you, that's all. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, Garnet.
At a minimum, maybe if you could put in, the first 2 or 3 letters of your name, and then it would find it, if that's an easier solution than putting everything in alphabetical order, that would at least be helpful.
That would be very nice. I suspect that's not a feature that Survey 123 has. Survey 123 is not it's not really a program per se. It doesn't have the features that you're used to using in most everything else you do on the internet. It's based on an Excel type of format and XML. So it just doesn't have all the capability that you're used to seeing. But anyway, we will.
Understood.
That would be really nice to have. So let me follow up on that.
Thanks.
Anything else?
And Dave, I just wanted to make a quick comment when you guys were talking about borough notes. You want to make sure that those match what's written on your beach data sheet.
Right.
Because that is something that we check. And that's another reason why it's a good idea to leave your notes kind of short and sweet. Because otherwise, someone has to go through and validate that the data sheet matches the borough notes. So
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that comment. That's really relevant to the QC work we do. And with respect to borough notes, I'm sure this was covered in other training you've had, but the most important notes you can put down are ones that affect the information you're collecting on numbers of PIGU and deliveries. So fog is a really big issue with respect to being able to see birds fly with prey into burrows. And seed chop is really important with respect to being able to count PIGUs on the water. So if you have things like that, those are really good general survey notes to put in the survey. And it's also really nice if you use the title, if it's fog, like title it fog, and then say, we really had trouble seeing PIGU fly into burrows today because of the fog. And if it's sea chop, a good title is sea chop, and then the note would be probably there were a lot more PIGU than we were able to count because of sea chop. Because when we ultimately put all this data together and there's some kind of anomaly in a particular week, for instance, say the PG counts are really down from what is normal, we wonder why. And if there's a note on a BDS, on a beach data sheet that indicates there was fog or sea chop or whatever, that's why. And it answers the question. So that's really valuable information.
And in the consistency between the image of your beach data sheet and what the data is, as Shannon pointed out, is really critical. Like I've found myself I'll be entering data and I'll realize, oh, I forgot to make a note about fog, and I'll enter it on the computer. Well, I have to go back and write it on the beach data sheet also, so that it will agree before I upload it and my image, so. Because otherwise the QA people have to go back and ask somebody, is it really true?
Mhm.
Do you remember what
Anyway.
happened that morning? Sometimes it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
And then Dave, if for the other category of prey, should we make notes in the burrow notes if we're actually able to identify that prey, even though it's in the other category?
Is that where you do it? Because you can't.
That's probably where I would do
On
it.
page 2, right, you can use
Yeah.
it, you can use that.
Like say other prey to burrow 3 was a sculpin.
Yeah. So do you know what Shannon's talking about at the bottom of page 2? Of the beach data sheet, there is some room to add notes, and you can add a note there, and then when you're entering into survey 1, 2, 3, there's a block where you can put a burrow note, so that's where you can transfer a note from the beach data sheet onto the survey 1, 2, 3 form. We don't often, I guess at Whidbey, we very rarely have a note associated with prey, so.
Okay.
But yeah, everybody can do this a little different. Every region can do it a little different. The things we talked about tonight, those are the things that should be consistent across all the regions.
And the exception to other prey that wouldn't be counted as other would be the snake prickleback, because that's often not distinguishable from a gunnel. So, and it's noted on the data sheet, but some people can identify pricklebacks and some folks are going to count them as gunnels. So we've put them all in the same category. Those will be counted as gunnels as well.
So, and on disturbances, is an osprey considered an eagle under the eagle category or other?
Yeah, that's a great question. I kind of wish that was birds of prey, but no, it's an other.
Okay.
So mark it as other and then list it in the note what it was.
Okay.
Great turnout and
Sure, we
great
didn't
questions.
miss any here in the chat. I think we covered the chat pretty well.
Okay, is that it then?
I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave and Bets. Yay.
Huge thanks to Dave and Bets.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And
You're
thank
welcome.
all of
Yeah.
you for taking
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah,
lead
thank
and
you
data.
all for doing it.
And one last thing, Beth's mentioned this, but after your first week, enter your data, upload your data right away, because what we do after week 1 is we look at everything to see if anybody's having trouble with what they're doing, and if they are, then we can get back to you right away.
Yeah,
Great.
That's a really good point.
yep.
Thanks.
All right, have a great
All
season.
right, have fun.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
So long. Thanks, Betsy and Shannon.
Yeah, thank you
Dave.
guys.
I'm gonna